All right, our next guest is Vicente Luque, who's got a big fight coming up against Kevin Holland at UFC 316 on June 7th. It's a pay-per-view. This is a good one. Both of these guys have been fighting for a long time in the UFC. Vicente probably even longer. Vicente, what are you like on fight number 25 or something like that?
Uh, Again, that's the number of my fights you're talking about.
Yeah. If you
Yeah, I
count
think it's
the
gonna be
Ultimate Fighter and everything.
yeah, probably over 25 already, counting the Ultimate Fighter. And I mean, I've been 10 years in the UFC. I think in June it's gonna be 10 years in the UFC.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long run and still got a lot to do inside that octagon. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and along the way, I mean, you've beaten some good fighters, man. And so to be able to hold that consistency for a long time is actually pretty admirable. And you're only 33 years of age. So you can really extend this career pretty far. Have you thought about that? Like either a certain age or a certain amount of fights or a certain amount of wins? Have you ever thought about when you would want to wrap it up?
I mean, I've always since I started professionally at 17 years old, and that was something that in my mind I always wanted to get to the UFC as soon as possible. I wanted to have the most amount of fights possible, and I think that's exactly what my career has been about. And I don't have a plan when to stop. I don't really have a number of fights. I want to do as many fights as possible, fight for as long as possible. And while I have the fire burning in me and the desire to fight, I want to step in that octagon and do what I do.
What's your best win ever? You've beaten 3 world champions and a lot of contenders, but do you have a favorite fight that means the most to you?
I think my favorite fight is against Brian Barbarina, just because of the way the fight happened. You know, uh, all that the dynamic. Like I started winning, had big shots. I was knocked down. Then the second round was a really hard round for me, and then third round I was still looking for that finish. Maybe I was not gonna get a decision, and then I get the finish on the final 6 seconds. So that for me is it has all the ingredients for one of my favorite fights. Uh, I great striking, all around striking in the fight, and knockdowns for both sides. It would be a fight that I would love to watch. That's why I like that fight so much. But I love a lot of my fights. I think a big fight that I have is definitely the win over Bilal. Later he became a champion, and I think that always is going to be one of my big wins, that knockout. And it was very special because it was in Madison Square Garden in UFC 205. So I think I hold the first MMA knockout in Madison Square Garden. So that's a special one as well.
That's cool. All right. Um, what would the win over Kevin Holland represent? Is it just kind of like, hey, I still got it, or maybe he's got a skill set, that you've never really faced before. Maybe behind the scenes, you two don't even get along. I don't know. So, like, what does this fight, I guess, mean to you, other than just the win and the money that comes with it?
I mean, I think it's one of the fights to get me back to the top. That's what I'm looking for. I want to get back into that mix, into the top five. That's the goal for this year. And I think a fight against Holland is not easy to get a ranked opponent right now. And I don't want to wait. I've been waiting for a long time, and I think that Holland is that kind of name that he has been in rankings in the middleweight, in the welterweight. He's a guy that always everybody's backing and supporting. So I think it's a fight that brings the hype, and it's a win. I go out there, I pick up a good win against him. I think that sets me up for a great fight after that, and moves me up the rankings. So that's my goal: get back to that top five, and get back to the title picture.
And then here's another thing too. Your gym has had a lot to do with the title, contenders, some rivalries as well. I think I remember even when Kamaru and Gilbert fought, it kind of split the coaches a little. Like it's gone through a lot, your division over there at Killcliff.
Yeah, I mean, Killcliff has the best welterweights in the world, and it's great for us to train with each other, to learn from each other. I've always learned a lot with the two names you mentioned, with Gilbert and with Kamaru. Both of them are my friends. Obviously, Gilbert, is more than a friend. He's my brother to me, and I don't know. I just think that it's natural for us to all train together. That is why we're having success, and eventually we get to that point where either we're gonna move gyms and fight each other, or we're gonna have to make something work. Like me and Gilbert, we know that we're never gonna fight. That's something the UFC even wanted to at some point, but that's not something that will happen. And we had to stand our ground and make sure that, hey, we're brothers. We're not gonna fight each other. And in other circumstances, guys like Kamara and him ended up fighting, and it's just part of the business. But I think it's great to have a team and train together like that.
Vicente, would you say the welterweights are the best they've ever been right now in the UFC? And where do you rank the division in history? Because right now, I can't think of a time when there was more welterweights, high level welterweights, where you go 1 to 10, you even go to the number 15 guy, and even he could probably give the champion a run for their money. Where do you rank the division right now?
I definitely think like right now is one of the best moments for welterweight. I think that it's always been a competitive division, always been a division with big names. But right now, like you look at the whole division, no, there's no easy fight. Even guys outside of the rankings, they're not easy fights. So I think that it just makes it more exciting for the fans and for me as a fighter as well. I love challenges. For me to uh, be able to climb the division right now. I know it's going to be harder, but it's going to be, the reward is much bigger as well. And I think this is my opportunity right now. Like a lot of moves in the division. I want to take advantage out of that. And yeah, it's great to be in a division like this.
When you look at Kevin Holland, one of the only things that you can predict about him is that he's unpredictable, right? He likes to react in the moment. Is it difficult? Is it weird to prepare for a guy like that?
I mean, I try to train with a lot of people. That's what I'm doing for this fight. Obviously, I have some guys that are taller and lengthy like he is. Maybe try to emulate some stuff, but I also train with a lot of different guys to make sure I'll be ready for everything. And mainly, he's a guy that he goes out there and he fights. Usually, he's not trying to stall, trying to have a safe fight. And I think that's always exciting. That's always gonna bring the best out of me. And in any case, also if he wants to go out there and wrestle, I train with great wrestlers with all kinds of different games. So I really feel like I'm ready for anything. And my own game is I can knock you out, I can submit you. I'm a complete MMA fighter, and more than anything, I'm always going, for that finish and fighting aggressively. So I think it's a style that matches really well. I know that it's not easy to predict, but it's a fight that excites me.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you for some sort of prediction, but I'm going to give you a different type of question. You are an ingredient, he is an ingredient. In this recipe, when you look at the finishes that you get, the type of fights that he puts on, should we tell the judges just stay home? We don't need you. This one's not going to the judges.
I mean, I think that's the most likely. I'm hungry. I'm going out there, seeking a finish, either knockout or submission. I don't really make a pick, but I fight, with everything I've got, and I know that I have the capability of finishing anybody, anybody. I know that I have that kind of power and that kind of skill. So I definitely think that this fight will finish, before the 3 rounds, and I see myself getting a big win.
Well, 20 of your 23 wins have been finishes, 11 by KO, 9 by submission. So you have a very balanced attack. So I would say, yeah, I think the judges will not be needed here, especially if you win. And then to his credit, at the same time, he likes to put on a show as well. And this is going to be a good one, man. I like this fight.
Mhm.
It is, man. I think we have all the ingredients to have a fight of the night, maybe a fight of the year, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go out there, do what I do, show the UFC and everybody, that I'm still hungry for that title. I'm climbing up, as you guys said. I'm just 33 years old. I still got a lot, of improvement to do, and I feel like I'm still just getting better. So that's what I'm gonna show that night.
Are you cool with Ignacio Bahamondes? I know he's Chilean, living in the United States, but obviously he's getting a lot of credit as a Chilean fighter, doing well. You're part Chilean as well, part Brazilian. Any jealousy there, or is he like a brother to you?
No, I mean I'm not so close to him, but I have definitely talked to him a few times and supported. What he's doing. I think it's great. Like, he is a high level fighter. Uh, you know, has that different kind of striking, which I love. I love to watch these fights. Plus,
Hmm.
he's Chilean and he's been, born and raised in Chile. I think that's amazing. I have Chilean heritage. I didn't grow up there. I've been there a few times, seeing my family, and I also fought over there. And I know how much the Chileans support their fighters. I feel so much support from them. So for me, it's just amazing to have, to see a full Chilean fighter, born and raised, representing Chile in the UFC in the way he is doing. So for me, there's no jealousy. I'll never be jealous of a guy like that. I'll just back him up and support him, and I hope he brings that title eventually to Chile.
Nice. That's very cool to hear. Let me ask you a question here, Vicente. Let's say you and Kevin Holland went face to face and the stare down got intense. But you had to do one of the two that I'm going to give you, one of the two options. Which would you do? Would you rather flick off, how he likes to wear cowboy hats? Would you rather flick off his hat, and just kind of look at him like, what's up? Or take it off and put it on your head and just kind of act like a
I
smart
think
ass,
I,
that way?
yeah, I think I would take it off and put it on my head. I think that's funnier and at the same time is more respectful.
Ah,
That
okay.
would be funny.
All right. Would you do it? Would you think about it, or
No, I don't think I would. I don't think I would. It's not much me, especially because for me the face-offs is like that's when I get into war mode. So
uh-huh.
that is really serious for me. I'm not. How could I say? I don't take it as a fun moment. Like, it's a moment to have fun. I'm locked in. If he wants to play with me, I'm cool with it. He can play, but I know that, hey, this is the last moment.
Hmm.
We have a is the last opportunity he has to back down. After that, we're getting locked in a cage, and I'm gonna go there to take his head off. So that's my mentality for face off. That's why I don't think I would, kind of do any kind of joking.
I wonder if you'll be thinking about this conversation when you're standing there. Oh man, the guys from Junkie Radio. What do I do? But no,
Yeah.
it was funny because the Bilal Muhammad Jack Della Maddalena fight. Of course, I wanted to see it. I was excited, but when they had that first face off and Jack went like this and Bilal swatted his hand, and everyone went, "Ooh!" That highlight started to get out there a little, and it just got a little bit more exciting. So I always wonder if fighters ever think of those possibilities to spice up their fight just a little bit more, and sometimes that's a good spot to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and even like when I fought Mike Perry, he kind of joked a little bit in the weigh-ins, and maybe it was something he thought about, and I didn't think about that. I was just as I said, I was locked in, but it worked out in favor of me, because he hyped the fight even more, and at the end I got the win. So, if Holland wants to do that, hey, he can do it.
I do want to say one last thing on the way out for the listeners, maybe the fans that haven't been following the sport as long. I clearly remember Luque against Barbarina. It was a great fight. it happened early in the year, about like 6 or 7 years ago. But I always wondered if it was at the end of the year, if it could have been like a fight of the year, for the publications like MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, Yahoo, whatever. But it happened so early in the year, it got a little lost in the shuffle. But man, you guys were like zombies at the end. But I think if one day the right people saw it, I bet you it could be in a conversation for in the fight wing of the Hall of Fame, because it had everything you could ever want in terms of going back and forth and damage and blood and heart, and resolve. Just kind of like Cub Swanson and Doohoo Choi, same thing. It doesn't have to be a title fight or anything like that, but if it was one, that where people were tested and the limits were pushed, this one's up there.
I think we even I'm not sure how many shots, but it was almost 300 or 300 combined significant strikes in a 3-round fight. So that was like high pace, very high pace.
You did get fight of the night, I hope, right?
We did get it. Yeah, we did get
Okay,
fight of the
good.
night. Yes, we did.
Okay, otherwise that would have been one of the biggest robberies ever.
I
Thank you,
was hoping
Vicente.
for the double bonus on that one, but I didn't.
I know,
'Cause I
that would
got
have
a
been
knockout
great.
at the end, so maybe performance and fight of the night, that would have been great.
Yeah, but Dana White at least congratulated you, hopefully, or any of the
Yeah, for
matchmakers.
sure. No, I got all I needed from that. It was great.
Okay. Thank you for joining us on MMA Junkie Radio. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Let's go.